In today's video, I'm just gonna do something fun. I am going to design 5 kid characters. That's right, 5. And each of these young kids will represent or cosplay a Dungeons and Dragons inspired class. So I have chosen a Barbarian, a Wizard, a Rogue, Cleric, and Ranger. The main idea is these kids are in a fun, imaginative D&D adventure. That's the concept. I'll just figure out a way of how to design the backgrounds. For now, let's focus on the characters. This will be part of my children's book portfolio project, so this is video number 4. After I'm done designing these characters, I will put all of them in the background scenery, which will be the topic of my next video. So if you're interested to follow along with me in this portfolio project, or you want to learn more about digital art or illustration, just leave a like, subscribe to my channel, smash that notification button. I post 1 video a week and you don't want to miss it. Anyways, let's get started. So in this art piece, which is a character design piece, I want to make sure that each character has a different ethnicity to one another, because one of the skills that I want to showcase in this portfolio is my ability to draw different race. Here is a short description of the 5 characters. You can see the race, the class, gender, and body type. That's all the information I need. I have already gathered a bunch of references of each character and their class. From my first video, I introduced 6 artists I will get inspiration from in doing this project, and the 2 character designers on that list is Luigi Lucarelli and Cesar Vergara. Their style will be my base, and I will try my best to absorb their character design powers and unleash it to my portfolio. So bring it on. Alright, so the first thing I ask myself is, how do I exaggerate this character? Since I already have an art style in mind, which is from my 2 character designer inspirations, and I have the references and character description on the side, it is almost impossible for me to get art block because I already created a guide that will help me draw this character. I always imagine a little story when I draw characters. Like in this case, there are 5 kids who are playing Dungeons and Dragons, and we enter in their imagination. By the way, I did some research. There is literally a D&D version for kids. So this character is a Middle Eastern boy living in the Western world, and he is a bit chubby, and I imagine his story that he is the kind of kid who gets bullied in school, and that's why he chose to become a strong, brave barbarian in the game they are playing. You don't have to create an entire story, but this is a good way to make your character lifelike or a bit relatable. So when I'm drawing, I always start by identifying the basic shapes of my characters. Common mistake that I see from beginners is that they commit too early with the details. Right now, I am adding the details like the clothing and accessories of this character because I already know what my character looks like as a whole. And this process got more easier because I have my references. In fact, the belt of this character is a mixture of these 2 images. By the way, link of where I got the references will be under the description below, and there is a lot of them. Okay, let's lower the opacity and do the line art. Since the sketch is already done, I am now barely looking at the references. I'm just focusing completely on how to finalize the look. A basic rule for lines is to always make the outer lines thicker to really show the character's silhouette shape, and the details should have thinner lines. But sometimes that is not the case. It depends on the art style you want to pursue as well. So let's move forward to the wizard kid. So I have my wizard references, and my tactic to most of this is to find ways to mix the only references I have in my side. So my short story for this character is that he is the tall and smart friend of the barbarian kid, like his best friend. So my original idea is for him to have glasses, but you know what? I've decided not to go with that. And I made sure that as I draw this character, the barbarian is just beside him because I want to compare the different shape language they have. Third character is the little rogue girl. So I want this design to have a mix of ninja elements. So I gathered 2 references of ninjas on the side. It is also important to keep in mind that I have a bunch of Luigi and Caesar's character design pieces on my other computer screen. Because remember, they are my base. And I want to make sure that I'm also implementing their style on my artworks. To be honest, I don't think I have an original style. I just truly love observing other amazing artists' work and try to learn their art style. Fourth character is the cleric. So I did some research that there are clerics who wear robes or even armor, and they can either have mace and hammers as weapons or staff. So I chose the priest with robes like cleric. So when I pick references, by the way, when it comes to character designs like this, I choose the one that have specific clothes I like to draw. For example, the robe of this reference caught my eye, so I saved this one. But I also like the leather bag of this reference, so maybe I can find a way to include both for this character. Alright, last character. By the way, this took me 4 hours to draw all of them. 5 if you can include the reference searching on Pinterest. In this lineup, I want to just start drawing and don't overthink too much on how to make it perfect. Sometimes that's the reason why we get art block, because of the overwhelming thought of trying to create the most perfect design. Just gather 5 to 6 references, pick a style, and just start sketching. Life is long, so just draw a lot. 80% of your drawings will be trash, but that 20% will be the pieces that will create an impact to your art career. Okay, and just like that, we are done. So I'm just comparing their sizes here. Next step, we are just going to add the flat colors, but before we do that, we have to create their silhouette shape in order to make it easier for us to add the colors. Let me show you. So here is the layer window. We are currently selected in the line layer. Let's create a new layer. Name it flats. I like renaming my layers, easier to navigate. Let's select the line layer and grab our magic wand tool. Make sure the anti-alias and the contiguous is checked. This will allow us to only select the inside of the area we chose in the line art. Let's select the face first and the rest of the character. Now that we selected all parts of the character, let's select the flat layer and grab the paint bucket tool and fill out the selection. As you can see, the magic wand tool is not perfect, but what we can do to fill out almost everything and avoid having this white leftover parts on the edges is to select the parts of the characters again using the magic wand tool, go to select, then click modify and select expand or Ctrl E. So this window will appear that will allow you to expand the selection you created, like this. If you look closely, the selection has expanded a little bit. And just like that, the leftover marks are gone, but of course, still leaving some areas unpainted. But that's okay, we can easily fill that out manually with our brush. Let me show you why we prioritize doing the silhouette shape first. When we paint over this with any color, as you can see, it can paint outside the silhouette shape. But if we click this icon over here, which is the lock transparent pixel, this will allow us to just paint over the inside of that shape, making adding flat colors easier than ever. So before we add colors, I'm going to double check the silhouette shapes if there are any tangents or it can stand out alone. When designing characters all together and creating a lineup, make sure you follow the roller coaster method, which is drawing the characters in different heights, like this. And if all of them are in the same world, obviously their art style will be the same, so also make sure their head is almost the same size to one another. Okay, let's add the flat colors. Let's fast forward, and again, references and colors.co and adobe.colors.com are my main website to get ideas for color palettes. Now that the flat colors are settled, we can double check if the values are looking good, because here's the thing, colors can trick you. Doesn't mean the colors are harmonized, doesn't mean the values will be as well. Values are important. It makes your design easy to look at. The number one rule for values is when the subject is white, then the background should be black. And it works the other way around. Like for example, I changed the brightness of the wizard kid's hat and robe. Why? Because it is competing with the character's skin color. Same goes with the barbarian kid's pants. I made it darker so we can see this leather thing hanging in his belt. And last example is the belt and shoulder pads of the rogue girl. I made sure it is slightly seen for the viewers. This can go on and on, but that is the basic rule of values. So here is my workspace. Here is my layer window, my color wheel, and my tools. I also have all the group layers for each characters, but in this video, I am just going to do the demo for the barbarian kid. So there are 4 rendering techniques that I'll be implementing here to make this character lineup presentable in my portfolio. First render is what I like to call blush. I start off by creating a new layer, name it blush. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of reddish color to the character's nose, cheeks, and ears. This is how I always stylize my characters and begin the rendering process. Second render will be screen lighting. So we create a new layer above, name it light, and simply set the layer to screen mode. Let me grab my solid default brush. So what I do here is just color pick the area I want to add light to, and basically paint over it. Screen mode is the perfect blend mode for this. I did not use color dodge or linear dodge because those blend modes work better for doing direct light rendering. In this art piece, I just want something simple. Alright, let's compare. So this is the before and after. Third render is shadows. So let's create another layer, drag it below the light layer, and set it to multiply mode. For the color, I always use the palette between pink and red. It just blends well when you paint shadows over your subject. I also use the lasso tool to create selections for areas where I want to shade. Okay, let's see the progress so far. Beautiful. We can end the piece right now, but I want to push the rendering a bit further, so the last render will be coloring the line art. Right now, our lines are pure black. So first, we are going to select the line art layer, select our solid brush, color pick the skin because we are going to start coloring the lines that are connected to the skin. We darken the color a bit and use that palette to color our lines. Oops, we forgot to click the lock transparent pixel icon on our line art layer. So once we lock that, we can now safely color the lines without worrying about coloring the rest. Alright, let's do the rest of the lines. So this is the difference between pure black lines and colored lines. We all have different tastes. Some of you might like the black lines better, but for me, I prefer the colored one. Now let me show you the rest of the gang. Here they all are and ready for their first D&D quest. So this is what they look like before without the rendering, just lines and flat colors. And with a little bit of adjustment, we can turn a basic drawing to something more presentable and appealing. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope this demo was helpful. I'm still figuring out ways on how to present my learnings in a much more easier, consumable format. If you have any tips on how I can improve my delivery, please let me know in the comments below. I will greatly appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next video, which will be me putting all of them in a cinematic scene or a single page for a children's book. Anyways, have a great day. Cheers.